Good morning. How are you today? Happy Monday morning or afternoon or evening, depending on where you're watching from or what time you're popping in. So today I want to talk about intuitive eating and specifically how it's changed my life. So I'm very excited to tell you a little bit about me in this story and talk more about intuitive eating because I really wish that I had stumbled upon it a lot sooner than I did or than I have, because it's been such a game changer for me and for my life and for my stress levels and how I look at food. So I want to share this with you to let you know that, this is something, if you've been thinking about, this is something that you can do too. It's not that hard, it's actually pretty easy once you get in the swing of things, and then you just kind of roll from there, and it's great. It's really awesome. So if you're coming on today, please say hello. I'd like to know you're here, and I'd love to be able to say hi back to you. And if you happen to catch the replay, #replay, so I know you're here. And if you have any questions at all that happen to do with intuitive eating or the content I'm covering, pop it right in the comments for me. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. And if you have any questions that come up in the future, let me know too, pop it in the comments or PM me. I look forward to hearing what you have to say and answering your questions for you. So let's dive in, okay? Because intuitive eating, it seems to be getting a lot of attention lately, and it's usually fad diets that get the attention. Good morning, Chloe. How are you? Happy Monday morning. So with fad diets that are usually the ones getting the attention, I've noticed that intuitive eating is slowly becoming more and more popular. So with that, like with intuitive eating, it's this approach to just help people heal from the side effects of chronic dieting. And hold on one second. Okay, make sure I'm not losing my connection here. Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, it's this approach it just helps you to heal from all this chronic dieting that you may have been participating in, and it teaches you to actually listen to your own bodily cues as far as your fullness and your satisfaction go. And there's multiple principles of intuitive eating. There's actually 10 of them, and those include honoring your hunger and respecting your fullness and just rejecting that diet culture and all that diet mentality, all those voices that are stuck in your head right now, okay? So it means allowing yourself to actually truly eat whatever you want. And in that way, you learn to actually trust your body, and your body learns to trust you too, okay? So these are all, amazing, feel-good things that go on within intuitive eating. So for some people, I know it's just kind of hard to wrap your brain around that kind of idea or this information that I'm throwing at you. But diet culture, it's so prevalent in our society that the thought of letting go and just listening to your body is not something we're really comfortable with, right? So because of that, I often hear people tell me, if I listen to my body, I will binge all day. I'll binge all day long. I'll eat nothing but pasta and cake and cookies and pizza and chips and so on. And believe me, I hear you, but intuitive eating was made for people like us, people who eat, more than they want, and then you feel guilty and then you try to make up for it. And then you only fail again. And we repeat that cycle again and again, okay? It's that vicious cycle that we really want to jump out of, okay? And you can jump out of it, and you can jump out of it for good. So I have been one of those people, if I stopped trying to restrict food, I would end up eating everything that I had just been craving for months. I didn't even know that, I had no idea what intuitive eating was. I had never even heard of it at one point, just not too long ago. And once I did learn of it, I kept trying to just inflict those diet rules on myself, like, oh, I'll do it, but, I'll also count my macros just in case. I was afraid of letting go of that control. And, after counting my macros for so long, it helped me out to a point, and it was good for a while. And then it got to a point where it just got stressful. It got stressful to have to count and weigh and measure every little thing that I would put in my mouth. And I became kind of miserable around it, not so happy. It was just too stressful. And once I became a health coach, actually, I learned about this holistic approach to nutrition. And I dove much more deeply into the ins and outs of intuitive eating, because intuitive eating really does take on that holistic approach, which is really nice. But before all of this, the crazy thing about it all is that I didn't even realize how much I was restricting and not using my true intuition. So once I was actually introduced to the concept of intuitive eating, it changed my life, and not just changed my life, but also changed the way I live my life. So it became much more clear to me how dieting actually makes us more fixated on food, and therefore that leads us to all that binging. Okay, it leads us to like the binging and that obsession and this just addiction to food, right? It was like this light bulb turned on in my head, and my brain was just like, okay, so this is why I'm going to embrace intuitive eating, and I wish I stumbled upon it so much sooner. I had been dieting since I was a teenager, and I had tried every quick fix known to man and woman. I was famous for restricting myself from all the foods I love all week long, thinking that I was actually being healthy. Those were my thoughts. While I was restricting, I thought I was doing a good thing. I thought I was being really healthy. But I was actually starving all the time. I was starving, and I would think of all these forbidden foods. That just ruled my brain. All these forbidden foods. Think about them all week long. Good morning, Antoinette. How are you today? And, all I would think about was like, I couldn't wait until I could just dive headfirst into a pizza. That was my main thought. That's all I could think about. And everything, all the other foods too that I dreamed about, but that just consumed my thoughts. And then gorging myself all weekend until I felt sick. And I actually planned it. I planned on making myself feel that way. And this vicious cycle went on for many, many years. But the miracle that happened was, first of all, I didn't even realize that I was a binge eater. I had no idea when I was going through it. I didn't know that's what I was actually doing. So even after years of being stuck in that vicious cycle, it wasn't until I finally healed myself that I realized, okay, now I can help other people heal as well. So my life has changed massively in the last 3 years since I have, stopped dieting and counting every piece of food that goes into my mouth. I now eat intuitively, and it has been so freeing, so freaking freeing, that I can literally feel the weight just lifted from my shoulders. And I've learned to just, feel my emotions and create new habits, which, of course, has been an absolute game changer for me. And I trust myself with food. I'm also listening to those internal cues, and I eat all the foods I love while still meeting my goals. I am no longer restricting at all. Intuitive eating has just changed my life because it gives me that freedom to just eat whatever I want, which allowed me to actually build trust within myself so that I don't have to feel, that need to just consume in excess amounts, all right? I don't need to have these excessive amounts of foods at one time. My body actually craves more nutritious foods now, and I also sometimes, I'll crave other foods as well, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. There's no need for guilt or shame or to feel bad or to feel like you've self-sabotaged in any way. With that being said, what I have learned so far on my journey towards intuitive eating, I've learned so much, but I've learned that, if you're craving something in particular, you don't have to choose between that something healthy. You don't have to make that choice. You can eat both. If you want an apple and you want a cookie, have them both. If you're undecided, you can do that, and it's okay. You'll get more nutrition that way. You're going to get more nutrition because you'll likely feel more full, and you won't stuff yourself with these so-called healthy options only to binge on the thing that you were originally craving anyway. Okay? So also what I've learned, if you eat whatever you want for long enough, it eventually loses its appeal. It really does. I see a lot of people who are concerned that they will never be able to eat intuitively because they say that their intuition will always want them to just eat cheeseburgers or chips or ice cream or whatever, whatever your thing is. And that might be true, for a while, but eventually it's going to lose its appeal, and your body will eventually want something else because it will just get tired of it. And you may find that your body naturally regulates itself. As in my journey towards intuitive eating, I have found that some days I eat more, and then other days not so much. My hunger level changes, so I'm not like constantly craving or gorging on something, all in one day. It's none of that is there. It's taken out of the equation. And even with that, I'm listening to my body. Every once in a while, I do go through a phase, like I said, where I'm hungrier than normal. And if that happens, that's all right. That's okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's just how your body happens to be feeling at that time. And by letting myself eat, I've kept myself from binging and then feeling guilty. Okay, so by allowing yourself what you're truly craving and what your body truly wants, you need to give it that, not restrict it, because the restriction is what's going to drive you crazy, mentally and physically, okay? And intuitive eating, it means, you're making choices that will make you just feel your best. If you want chips, but you don't want to, deal with, that sick feeling afterward, then your body is saying the sick feeling is not worth the chips. So don't eat the chips, all right? Or do eat the chips, and it might turn out that you didn't feel as bad as you thought you might. Or you might feel sick, and if you do, just take note of that feeling for the future, for the next time, and then just let it go, okay? Or, you could also just eat some of the chips and with no guilt, okay? You could stop to a point before you actually feel sick or feel uncomfortable, okay? It's all simply a choice you make, all right? So intuitive eating, it sometimes means craving or eating the healthier option. And if you know you're going to feel sick from eating that bag of chips, or then just eat some of the chips, or choose to eat something entirely else different instead. But if you say if you do eat the whole bag, say if this happens, because we know it happens from time to time, you eat the whole bag of chips and then you feel a little sick, a little uncomfortable, you didn't do anything wrong. That's number one. You need to know you didn't do anything wrong. There's no such thing as bad or good food, okay? That's diet mentality when you're labeling it as bad or good. So it's all just food. It's all just food, whether it's pickles or chips or pizza or vegetables or fruits or chicken. It's all food, and it's all the choice with no morals behind it. We put too many labels on our foods, and eventually it's going to stop being so hard. And I know this because I've gone through it, and eventually you will start knowing your body's signals, okay? It kind of comes on gradually as you start to learn what true hunger feels like, and how to start eating once you're feeling that true hunger, and also how to actually stop when you're feeling your fullness, when you feel full and satiated and you feel good, not overly full and sick and uncomfortable. Okay, it will just eventually become automatic for you, because it does get easier. It gets easier with time. So with that being said, there are still some things that I do struggle with, okay? I'm only human, and if you relate to any of this that I've said, it's a journey. And it's a long journey to take on, okay? We didn't develop disordered eating patterns overnight. So we're not going to heal ourselves overnight, okay? Because with the diet industry, that's another piece of diet mentality, is everybody wants a quick fix, right? We want it, and we want it now. We want it as soon as possible. But you have to remember, anything good takes time. And it's really important to be patient with yourself while it's taking time, but it will happen. So bottom line, intuitive eating has definitely changed my life, in that I am now learning to trust myself, and I'm breaking that whole diet cycle, okay? Because that whole diet cycle never got me anywhere. It didn't get me anywhere that I wanted to go anyway, and it only leads to guilt and shame, okay? And I'm letting go of obsession and all that negativity, and I've found that food freedom that everybody talks about, and joy and happiness. I'm not miserable when it comes to food, and in health. You know, my health is, of course, most important to me, and that also comes with trusting myself too. So if you have any questions about intuitive eating, or how to even start it or take it on, or get rid of that diet mentality so that you can be more of an intuitive eater, let me know. I actually, I just created this 1-month program where I used to do 12 weeks. I condensed it and I made it more powerful program in a nice condensed form of just 4 weeks. And you can see results literally in 4 weeks or less. And it's amazing. And within this 4 weeks, you have me every single day. So it is full of tons of support and accountability, and just learning all of the tools that you need, that you can pull from at any time, to learn how to be an intuitive eater, so that by the end of a month, your whole life is changed. You are not fearing food. You are listening to your body cues. You're listening to your hunger. You're eating when you're starting to get hungry, and you're stopping before you're overly full. And that in itself is a game changer. And then getting rid of that diet mentality and all that food police, all those voices that are in your head that can be really annoying and very frustrating at times. They're just, we wipe them away. Okay, so these are all of the wonderful things that go on within my program, and you can reach out to me at any time throughout the program if anything comes up for you, because I never want you to feel stuck. And I also reach out to you throughout too, just to keep you on track and to see how you're doing, and make sure that you are just set up for success. So if you have any questions, let me know. You can hop into my one-on-one 4-week program at absolutely any time. So let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. If you are, you can just PM me and be like, hey, you know, I'm interested. Let me know. Tell me more. So if there's no questions right now, I'm going to hop off. But I hope you all have a very beautiful day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.